Yeah, we have with us Mr. Adam Tanner from Harvard University, who is a journalist and a big, awesome book writer. The book says What Stays in Vegas, which talks about privacy. Welcome, Mr. Tanner. We're happy to have you here at ASE conference. And tell us something about yourself, your research, and this beautiful book. It's the hip hop for today. I've heard a lot about it.
So my research is about the business of personal data, the companies that collect the data, how they use it, and the human impact of what happens when there's this massive data collection.
Okay.
I've been interested in this topic because I've worked in many different countries of the world. I've lived in Russia, and I've lived in Germany and the Balkans, and reported in the United States. And I've seen the growing sophistication by private companies in particular gathering the data. So there's been the revelations by Snowden about U.S. government gathering of data. But I think for the average person, much more interesting is what companies are gathering about us, because the government does not have an interest in having an active, ongoing dossier about hundreds of millions of people, whereas companies do have these files. And so a sophisticated data broker will have thousands of individual data points about each of us here in the United States and increasingly worldwide. So this is that's the focus of what Stays in Vegas.
That makes perfect sense. Actually, I guess we all need to think about what is private and what's public.
Right.
There is no fine line these days between the two. So, what encouraged you to attend this conference, and where do you think that the research is going for the next 5 years in this field?
So I see myself as sort of a bridge between the great minds and researchers in the field and the general public. So I sort of try to translate through narrative stories the work of the great computer scientists and researchers, some of whom are attending this conference. Because in academia, sometimes you have a way of speaking that's pretty highfalutin up there, right, that doesn't have the humans. And so I try to take that knowledge and then show its application with humans and the stories that result. And because everyone is impacted by data gathering, I think it can be more widely understood and translated in that way. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So what do you think is the industry expectation for big data researchers and socioinformatics researchers in the next 5 years?
Well, from the standpoint of companies, they want to gather as much data about customers as possible to directly target, to use them for business advantage. But I think there is this problem that pure business motivation risks creating these privacy disadvantages. And for example, the analogy might be of cars, where developed as the horse carriage 100 years ago, you had engineers, super smart people making it faster and better, but people were flying off the cars and being injured and killed, right? So over time, you had the development of the seatbelt, the three-point belt, the airbags to help prevent those negative things from happening. So that's sort of the parallel of what today's researchers can be doing in the field of privacy, so that it can allow the development both of marketing informatics and of use of big data without harming individuals. So this whole field of how do you use big data in sophisticated ways to help science and to help humanity without harming individuals by kind of stripping them naked because you were able to re-identify stuff about them from their characteristics in the data. That's what I think is an interesting area to develop.
Indeed it is. And thank you so much for coming. We really loved to have you here at the conference. And thanks for your time.
Great. Thanks very much.